son, who was all of 4 years old, went to school first in a place called Newcastle. And we had, and this time by design, gone and lived in a place where there were these fabulous schools in the National League tables and all that. So he was, as a result, would automatically go to one of those schools. So we were very happy when he got his admission there, and we sent him for about 3 months or so, and came our first parent-teacher meeting. The teacher, a very status and smart woman, was sitting in her chair, a lovely big armchair. And we were made to sit on those little chairs where the kids sit, right? So we squeezed in it, below her, and she was looking down at us, and she started listing out the difficulties our son had had for those 3 months. So he was not sitting at one place, he would run after squirrels, he would not hear the bell ring and come back once the tiffin break over. And as she kept rattling these things, I felt smaller and smaller. And soon, that little chair felt big for me. But suddenly, as she stopped, my wife Shailaja, she piped up and said, and what about her strengths? As the child starts growing up, there are other things that start creeping in. And those are expectations, especially when a child starts going to school, right? And since in our system, in the Indian system, they start going to school nowadays at 2.5, the burden begins to build up. And the pain on realizing how different your child is. When the dream that you had for your child, the dream that Krishnendu was talking about, that you grow up with, that this is what my child is going to do, this is how my daughter is going to be, all that comes crashing down. And then begins the shame and the guilt and the rationalizations, or the doctor shopping, going from one doctor to the other, hoping that this one, and I have so many of parents who come to me, would have gone to 2-3 other people, and they might have then approached me, and they'll keep all that information quietly within themselves and wait for me to, hoping, and many times you'll find that the kind of things they would say to me almost, I can sense that they've already read up about it, they already know about it, and they're hedging those questions, they've prepared answers for it, almost with the hope that my eventual diagnosis is this time is going to be different. And that journey from that pain, the shame, the humiliation that they feel, the hopelessness and the helplessness that they feel, to empowerment is sometimes a long one, So accepting your child, and I could see that all the, again, as I would say, champion parents who spoke today seem to have accepted their children pretty early, which is great. But I also question how many parents are actually able to do that, And how important then are forums like these, when you want to form a community, when you want to have, information and awareness about how many more kids there are, how many more families who have made this journey. And of course, each one's journey is very, very different. But it's so important to kind of, to come to terms or to come in contact with people who have had similar experiences in life. This journey where you keep discovering and rediscovering many things that otherwise wouldn't have crossed your path. So I believe that, there's a forging of a new identity, right? There's a new, a renegotiation with realities of life. And that makes, indeed, as you said, that parents, families, children even, who go through such difficulties often turn out a lot more compassionate, a lot more kind. And this has been my repeated sort of experience with working with families and with the children, that they're different in so many ways, and so many refreshing ways. Perhaps that's the kind of refreshing, out-of-box thinking, that's the kind of compassion, empathy that the world requires today. And if we had more such, sort of disabled kids, maybe we'll go the right way. And indeed, as you said rightly, that those are the normal kids. We are, I could include myself in that now. We are the new normal, isn't it? Yeah? And in fact, normal to save the earth, so to say, isn't it? Rather than allow kids who are differently able to drift and to go their own way, to get completely neglected and criticized and indeed dealt with very harsh treatment at different stages of their lives, if we can nurture them, come together as a community of parents as you're doing today, that there can be nothing better than that. And there are again, if you look at research or if you look at clinical experience, you look at families and their stories, you see that the kids who were accepted as they are, the kids who got a family who were understanding, the kids who had a community in terms of extended families, schools, orchids and similar institutes, and parent bodies like yourself, those have so much a better chance to make it in life. And not just make it in life, make such a difference in the rest of the world. Thank you.